recording a summary is an effective way to check reading comprehension.
All right, let's talk about Venice. You know, this incredible city of canals and history. But here's the thing, this absolute jewel is in serious trouble. It's facing a rising tide that could literally swallow it whole. So what's going on? Let's dig in. So, let's really get into it. The whole story of Venice, when you boil it down, is this clash between its amazing, glorious past and, well, a future that looks pretty scary. I mean, this place used to be a powerhouse of trade. Now, it's on the front lines of the climate crisis. And believe me, what happens in Venice doesn't just stay in Venice. It's a warning for all of us. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with where the city stands right now, you know, on the brink. Then we'll cover some key terms so we're all on the same page. After that, we'll get into the why, nature versus humanity. We'll look at the data, and then we'll wrap up with why this is such a massive wake-up call for everyone. All right, first section, a city on the brink. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Venice is famous for its water, its beautiful, calm lagoons. But that very same water is now threatening to wipe it off the map. That's the paradox we're diving into. Wow. I mean, this quote right here really just hits you. Some experts are saying it's not a question of if the city goes underwater for good, but when. Just let that sink in. The idea of Venice just being gone forever, that's the reality we're dealing with, and it's hanging over this entire conversation. Okay, next up, let's build our crisis toolkit. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, we need to make sure we've got the right words to talk about this. Understanding these key terms is, well, key to really getting what's happening to Venice. Okay, so let's look at some key words here. You see words like tranquil and lagoon. That's the beautiful Venice we all picture, right? But then you see words like subsidence. That's the ground literally sinking. And surge, which is a sudden rush of water. And look at these verbs, accelerate, compound. They show how human actions are making things so much worse. It all leads to a really grim outlook, with the possibility that this city could just vanish. These words, they kind of tell the whole story in a nutshell. So, what's the deal? Why is Venice sinking? Well, it's not just one simple thing. It's this epic tug of war, really. It's nature versus humanity. Okay, this lays it out so clearly. On one side, you've got nature doing its thing. You've got aqua alta, the high tides, which have always been a thing in Venice. The city's also built on soft, marshy ground, so it's naturally been sinking, just really, really slowly. And there's even a tectonic plate shifting underneath. But then, look at the other side. That's us. That's the human causes. Pumping groundwater for industry, which made the city sink way faster. And of course, the big one, climate change, pushing sea levels up. We've basically thrown gasoline on a fire that was already smoldering. Let's really zoom in on the human factor here. Because yeah, the city was always sinking a tiny bit, but our activities, we slammed our foot on the gas pedal. And the really scary part is, even though they banned that industrial pumping a long time ago, the damage was already done. You can't undo it. And here's the proof, 25 centimeters. That's how much Venice sank in just the last 100 years. And most of that was from that industrial pumping we just talked about. I mean, think about it, 25 centimeters. The city is literally that much closer to the water because of something we did, and we're feeling those consequences every single day. Okay, so if you thought 25 centimeters was a lot, brace yourself. Because climate change is on track to add another 53 centimeters by 2100. That's more than double the sinking we've already seen. This isn't just one problem on top of another, it's like a multiplier effect. It makes the whole situation so much more dangerous. All right, let's get into the numbers. A deluge of data, because the data, well, it tells a really clear and kind of terrifying story. You can see exactly how this crisis has been ramping up over time. Whoa, just look at this timeline. It's wild. Back in the early 1900s, you'd get maybe 10 floods a year. Now, it's common to have over 60. And yeah, you see those huge disastrous spikes like in 1966 and 2019, but it's the trend line that's so alarming. It's just going up and up and up. So all this data, it leads to a really serious question, one we have to ask ourselves. What happens when this kind of crazy flooding isn't a rare disaster anymore? What happens when it's just normal? What does life even look like then? And well, here's the grim answer to that question. Scientists are warning that if we stay on this path, Venice could literally be gone by the next century. Vanished. This isn't just about saving old buildings or figuring out tourism. We're talking about an entire world-famous city ceasing to exist. And that's not science fiction. It's based on the data.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is bigger than just Venice. And in our last section, a global wake-up call, we're going to talk about why what happens in this one city matters to all of us, everywhere.
You know, Venice has become more than just a place on a map. It's become a symbol. You can almost think of it as a test case for humanity. If we can come together and figure out how to solve this, how to curb global warming and save Venice, well, that says something. But if we can't, that also says something pretty loud about our chances on a global scale. So let's recap the whole story real quick. You've got the problem. A one-of-a-kind city is about to be swallowed by the sea. The causes? A really bad cocktail of natural stuff made way, way worse by what we've done. The consequence is a future with more and more terrible floods. And the big takeaway? This isn't just Venice's problem. It's a global crisis, and it's going to take all of us working together to fix it. And that really leaves us with this one last huge question. It's a question that goes way beyond Venice. If we can't all work together to save a city as famous and as treasured as Venice, what does that say about our chances for the rest of the planet? What hope do we have? It's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.
Want to speak English better and boost your exam scores? Summary training makes it happen.